want to do next. Who your flop of the season are, the new signings. Who you think is going to flop? Viewers, who is going to flop signing of the season? Who out of all the new signings this season is going to flop?
Boy.
I'm going to spell mine wrong, I've got to Google. I don't want to spell it wrong on TV, but this. Hang on a sec.
Am I allowed to say De Jong? Because I heard that was Duntel. Can I say De Jong?
He's getting Chelsea, yeah. He's getting Chelsea. I need to make sure I'm spelling mine right. Now, I am spelling it. I was going to spell it right. But I wanted to check before I write it down. I normally do it, and it does it on spell checker for me. I'm going to do mine first of all. Mine, I said it the other day, I think he's going to be Perisic. I think Perisic is a quality player, right? I think he's a good player. When I look at flops, I always look at it as how good people say they are compared to what you're going to get. People are telling me world-class left back, world-class wing back. So I'm expecting Andy Robertson levels of performances. I'm expecting Cucurella level of performances. If we don't get that, it's a flop. That's who I'm going with. 100% Ivan Perisic is the person that I'm going for. I'm going to change it up a bit. Colleen, I'll go to you next.
Richarlison. And that's not even me trying to be a hater on Tottenham. It's more the fact that he's barely going to play. And when he is going to be able to come in, I don't see him making much of an impact. I'm sorry. I do love him though, but we've got the better Brazilian number 9, unfortunately.
Jess?
That was a good one. Yeah, I went with Tyrion Lannister, aka Lisandro Martinez. Yeah, I went with technical Terrace. I think he's going to get found out in this league.
5'6", you've oversold him there. You've oversold him there.
5'6". That is terrible. That is terrible. Fair enough. We'll see. He's going to bully you all. He's going to. He'll do bits.
Good luck.
Good luck. He'll do bits. Now I want your player of the year, people.
From a new signing or any player?
Any player. Any player. I'm going to give you mine. Mine. Obviously, if you watch Top 6, you know what mine's. You know what I'm going to say. I'm going with Erling Haaland, and he's scoring 35 league goals this year. He's breaking Mo Salah's record by a goal or 2. I think that would be by 3 goals, actually. I think he scored 32, I believe. Maybe 34. But I'm going to go with Haaland. I think he's going to absolutely destroy so many of the teams in the bottom 6. The guy's going to be scoring braces and hat-tricks and 4s in those games. He will score against the big boys as well. I don't really care if he breaks a record or not, but he will be the player of the season, in my opinion.
I'm not ready.
I'm
ready.
Okay, we'll go to Colleen first.
Going tried and true. I still think Salah will be player of the
Salah.
I still think he'll be player of the year. I just think he's just a phenomenal player. And I think if he has another great season, and if Liverpool win the league, like in your prediction, we're starting to get into very uncharted territory where we start talking about Premier League greats and that kind of era. That's what we're getting into with him. If he has another one.
You remember when you look at his outputs as a player, he is still right now per game scoring and assisting at the same rate as Thierry Henry. I'm never going to suggest he's as good as overall technical footballer as Henry, because that would be ridiculous. But if he adds a few more titles, like actual league titles to it, and keeps scoring and assisting at this rate, and he's done that new deal, so he's here, you are talking GOAT conversations. Jess, your flop of the year. Sorry, your player of the year. My apologies. I was wrong. Sorry.
I went with KDB. I went with City winning the league, and I think he's going to have a big part to play in that. They've not lost a bunch of big players, but they've lost some, Sterling and Gabriel Jesus, players that have been there for a long time. But I think that they've kept, probably the best player in the league. I don't think they'd ever consider getting rid of him, but having Haaland in front of him might be interesting because he'll be able to probably get more assists. I think he'll take more. I think he's just going to go up another level. I still think that, I know KDB is getting a little bit older, but it feels like every year he kind of adds a little bit of something new. He becomes a little bit more well-rounded. And so I think he's going to be key to this Manchester City team that's a little bit different. And I don't know, he's not underrated, but I feel like some people still,
because he has that level. It's like the fine.
You don't talk about him enough. Yeah.
Well, this, you know what? This happened a lot with Arsenal's great players, United's great players from Wenger's era, Fergie's era, where so many of the great players in those teams would often be overshadowed for some weird reason. They've just looked at as everybody, even though he's won awards, he's still not given as much appreciation by some people as he should. Final one is going to be your underachievers. And that can be a player or Actually, no, let's go with team. Underachieving team of the season based on expectation. I'm going to go with mine first. Jerome's just super chatted. I'm really sorry, bruv, but I'm going with Spurs. And the reason I'm going with Spurs, you can blame Patrick, you can blame Jordan, and you can blame
Ricky Sacks saying that they're challenging for the league.
So Ricky Sacks said they're challenging for the league. Jordan has alluded many times that they could challenge to the league. And Patrick believes they're qualifying, they're finishing in the top 4, 10 points clear of Chelsea and Arsenal. So for me, they're not doing that. Therefore, they're going to massively underachieve. So the Spurs reps we get on here when they say that, they've laid the gauntlet, they've laid the standard, and I think Spurs will underachieve. I think people are over-egging them far too much. They're in the top 4 race. They could make the top 4, but the way people are speaking about them, like it's a shoo-in, they're going to challenge for the title, they're going to finish 10, 12 points in front of everybody else. No, I don't see it myself. I'm going with Spurs as the underachievers.
Does it have to be top 6?
No, it could be any team.
Okay.
Over to you, Jay.
Okay, I went with Leicester. For the type of players that they have, Vardy, Madison, Ndidi, these guys, I think they're going to have a really rough season. The transfer window can really dictate where you go and what you do. And they look like they're really going through it again. They just never really refreshed from that initial really strong team. And they usually sell one big player a summer. They didn't do that. And their team went kind of rank. They need to move some players on. And it's late in the window. They haven't done any business. They're losing players due to injury already. Big players like Ricardo Pereira. Somebody else also got injury as well. So, yeah, I think it's going to be Leicester. And it's big because it's difficult to stay in the top 6. There was a moment in time where people were saying they should be in the top 6 over Arsenal, and they couldn't sustain it. It's very, very difficult. And with teams like Newcastle coming up that are going to have the money to really push forward, I think Leicester, not in trouble of getting relegated, but just of being kind of forgotten.
I hear that. Colleen?
I feel like I don't need to turn mine around. I know this is going to say I've got an agenda. I do have an agenda, but I'm being real. And I'll tell you why.
Colleen!
I'll tell you what happens, right? Tottenham, it's on one hand, it's your fans talking about going to be challenging for the title. Don't know what's going on. Don't know what's going on there, to be fair. But what will happen is Tottenham will draw a couple of games. Conte will lose it again. We'll have the World Cup. He'll start having a little look around. There'll be managers available. He'll get sacked on his way back to Chelsea. Beautiful love story, reignited. Tottenham back in the muds, and that's the hill I'm dying on.
Love it.
There we go. I love it. It says back to Chelsea on there as well.